September 16th, 2024. Good day, everybody. We're going to get into your real estate update. We're going to start right now. Currently in the Santa Clarita Valley, we have 544 total active residential listings on the market for sale. This is going to include every city out here, so it's a total of all the residential listings for sale. Single family residences is going to cover condominiums and townhomes. That's 544. All of that data and those listings can all be found at santaclaritaopenhouses.com. My system, it's unlocked. You'll be able to find everything there without having to worry about any of your personal information being sold or traded. Now, I will tell you that one of the most important things to watch out for are those online systems that are taking your information. For the rest of the real estate news here in Santa Clarita Valley, you can bet on interest rates having been coming down the last few days and probably continue to bet that they will continue to decline. Maybe not much, but the Fed is meeting tomorrow and the next day, and when they're going to meet, they're more than likely going to readjust the federal funds rate. That's the rate at which banks get to trade money to each other. Usually, if that's a lowering or an increase, that does impact the mortgage rate, and that's the one that the people watching my show are most interested in. You buyers out there have a decision to make. If you haven't spoken with a lender yet and you're considering dipping your toe in the real estate market, now is definitely the time, because if interest rates do come down considerably, and what I mean by considerably looks like into the 5s or high 4s, it will probably kick this, I take that back, it will kick this market off like it was a couple years ago when it was standing room only with listings and where there were multiple offers in very short order, and buyers were willing to give up particular rights in order to be able to purchase real estate and stay competitive with those other buyers out there. I will throw caution to the wind for you buyers that are getting advice from agents to give up all your contingencies and rights when buying real estate. You need to think about everything you're changing in that response to the seller's counter or even in your original offer. It's incredibly important. Somebody that's going to sit down with you and explain the nuances of you maybe shrinking contingency timeframes for inspections, for example, might be incredibly important. In addition to that, as far as your down payment goes, better stability for sellers out there depending on what type of loan you're going to be using. Now, some loans don't require much of a down payment, if any. I'm talking about the Veterans Administration loans. FHA is probably also, well, it's also a very low entry level loan at 3.5% down. Those two types of loans are typically looked at by home sellers as being very solid and very good, because you do need the credit wherewithal to be able to get those types of financing. And with the veterans loan, of course, well, you have to be a veteran or somebody, member of the military in good standing or having been honorably discharged, feeding that criteria. That being the case, the sellers out there are looking at those very, very credibly. On the other side, though, people that have 20% and more down, those offers are also looked at as being incredibly solid, and in some cases may be preferential for the sellers out there. In order to compete with those, if you happen to be a veteran or another type of borrower that doesn't have that high down payment, a lot of times those buyers give up a lot of rights that maybe the 20 and 50% down buyers don't have to. I'm just explaining that it's probably best for you to make sure you know exactly what you're changing, and if in fact you can change your inspection time frame, for example, to do all the inspections on the property to a lesser time because the seller needs to move rather quickly, let's say, that might be beneficial and might not be too much of a big deal for you as a buyer, because you might be able to get those inspections done within that 10 or 12 days. And that's fine. The sellers might like that because if there are issues, they get to deal with it without having to wait 17 or more days until the inspections come back and you decide what you're going to ask for, if anything, in the way of repairs or some kind of credit for things that have been discovered that you didn't expect when you were making that original offer. I'll tell you, sellers don't like revisiting these things, and most properties, if it's not indicated in contract, it's assumed it's going to be sold as is. You as a real estate buyer discovering things, of course, if you were a seller and you were wearing those shoes, more than likely you wouldn't appreciate it. Buyers would be coming back after you asking for money and credits after they have done their inspections and gathered more information on your residence, but it does happen. The thing that probably shouldn't happen is a buyer using that as a reason or a catalyst in order to try to get the property at a much larger discount. Basically, looking at this inspection report might have $1,000 worth of contractual type fixes and repairs that maybe need to be done, leaks and those sorts of things. But $1,000 doesn't mean the buyer should be asking for $10,000 credit because they believe the seller's in a hard way and they refuse or don't want to start escrow again with a new buyer. These are things that a top negotiator are going to watch out for you and make sure that you don't stick your hat out too far. In addition, on the seller's end of it, good advice really goes a long way in real estate. That's why having somebody that can negotiate well and understands the ins and outs of real estate, me having been doing this since 1998, I'll be more than happy to guide you through the whole process. That's where our current market is. I'll keep you updated as tomorrow and Wednesday develop. It's going to be an exciting week in real estate. If interest rates do come down, I would imagine that most of you are going to be jumping back in the market as buyers. If you haven't relived those qualification letters with your lender, if you haven't gone and spoken with them for a while, now might be a good time to reach out, see what they think about the rate, and then ask them how that rate's going to adjust for you if in fact the Fed drops those rates here over the next couple of days, and it eventually will roll down and also go after that mortgage rate, hopefully, if there is a large enough reduction or if the other factors at play in the economy indicate that that's where the mortgage rates are going to go. Something to definitely watch, and I'll keep you posted also. I'm Connor with Honor. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next one. Don't forget to check me out at www.santaclaritaopenhouses.com. Let me know when you're ready, and I'll help you get your real estate won.